Hello friends, welcome back to vStudent blog. In this Nutanix series of trainings, we will be in this video we'll be working on installing Nutanix Community Edition on VMware workstation. So let's go to a lab and we'll do it. Before that, in our previous video we discussed about downloading the Community Edition, ISO and Prism Central, all stuff. So using that, we'll be working on this lab. So for me, let me show you. I have a domain controller, that is of Windows 2019 box. No need to specify what all configuration I use, but if you see here, I'm going to create a workstation virtual machine for our community edition. So as I said, requirement like we need a minimum 16 GB and but that will be damn slow. So I already downloaded the community edition. Let me show you. One second. So I just downloaded a couple of ISOs. Like if you see here, this is the community edition. Like hypervisor, which I downloaded. It is of 7 GB of size, and also like download metadata, Prism Central and Prism Central upgrade files, which I downloaded, and we'll be using the same while we deploy the VM. So here let's start. Like operating system, we can select it later or just select this one. So click next, and I will be selecting Linux as operating system, guest operating system with CentOS, so 64-bit. So for this lab we'll be deploying hypervisor as AVH. Oh, that is Nutanix hypervisor. So if you are using ESXi as your hypervisor, so first of all let me know that Nutanix is such a friendly friendly application or software. It's like you can use the hypervisor like Microsoft Hyper-V, or you can use ESXi, VMware ESXi, as well as Nutanix own proprietary hypervisor. So that is AVH. So you can use any of the hypervisor based on the license you already have or operating system you have. So based on that, you can deploy you can use the hypervisor. So here in this video we'll be using the Nutanix hypervisor. So for that I am selecting CentOS, but if you are using VMware ESXi as hypervisor, then you need to select the VMware ESXi with whatever. If you are using 6.5 or 6.7, you have to select that. So we'll click next. So we'll give some name for this, some AVH or something I'm giving. So location, it's up to you. So for the hypervisor I will give 30 GB, split virtual multiple files, split virtual disk multiple file, that is recommended. So in the hardware, if you see here, 1 GB is not sufficient, so I'm making it almost 57 GB, leaving some memory for my operating system and my domain controller. And processors, I'm setting it to two cores and 4, and make sure to enable virtualize Intel VX virtualization engine. So network, I will select bridge network, and we need to add a disk. Once you click close, then you will get that option. So even I can mount the ISO directly here. It's already mounted, so that's fine. So click finish. So now VM is created. Now I need to create two disks. One is for data and one is for our CVM. So go to the hard disk and select SCSI one thing, select SATA, anything is fine. So select the new disk and I'm going to make it 200 GB and click next. You can select the drive and I'm going to select the created folder for this. Click finish and I will create one more disk. This is for data, so click next and click next. So I'm going to give it 400 GB with the splitted single file, with the splitted virtual disk multiple files. Click next and finish. So now it's ready to power on. If you see here 55 GB of memory and 8 processors, you are able to see the 400 for data, 200 for CVM and 30 for my uh, hypervisor. So we are using network as bridge network and power on. So it will take almost 30 to 40 minutes to complete entire process. So initial while configuring we need to configure the IP for the CVM as well as for our hypervisor. Till that time I will continue this video, and once the installation process will start, then we'll pause the video, and when once everything is done, then we'll proceed with the next steps. So we'll wait to get that screen. Okay, so give me a sec. So as we discussed before, this is the next step where we need to select the hypervisor. Like AVH is the hypervisor for Nutanix, and ESXi we have option to select ESXi also. So for this video we'll be selecting AVH, and in the upcoming videos I will select ESXi. I will show the process to configure ESXi, where we need to download the ISO, and we need to uh, give the URL for the ISO so that it will pull the ISO, copy it, and then it will start installing the ESXi as a hypervisor. So for now we'll be using AVH. So just click tab. Okay, so yeah, so here it's already selected default. Generally it select on its own, but uh, for hypervisor it's selected 32 GB, and for data it's selected 214, that is 200 GB, and for CVM it's selected 429 GB. So we'll change it. For data we'll select as okay, and data will make it like this so that we can assign containers and all stuff. So after this we need to assign the IP for this for the hypervisor. So we use static IP 192.168.0.100 and subnet 255.255.255.0, that is /24, and gateway, and we'll give the IP for CVM 1 dot. Okay, so make sure you don't do any mistakes here, or else later your installation will fail, or you need to do lot of efforts to fix it. So here you have an option to create a single node cluster. If you want to do multi-node cluster, then don't select this. For me, I don't have option. I will go for single node cluster because of my hardware support only single node. So DNS, you have to give the DNS IP. Make sure your DNS server is turned on. So it's make sure everything is correct, and if you feel everything is correct, then proceed for next page. So here you need to accept the license. So you must scroll down till last page, go through the agreement and accept the agreement by clicking spacebar. Then when you click start, you will go for next step. This will take more time. So till this is completed, we will pause the video, and this is once this is done, we'll proceed with our video. Okay, it's asking for reboot, so let's reboot the VM. So hypervisor came up and you're able to see the login screen. So we need to we need to wait for some more time because in the backend it will deploy the CVM, and once we are able to ping the CVM, then we'll connect the CVM using the putty, and we'll start the cluster if cluster didn't start up. Once the cluster is up, you will be able to uh, access the Prism element or Prism using the CVM IP. So once that is done, we will be able to see the dashboard and all stuff. So we'll wait for some time, and meanwhile we'll try to ping the CVM and see. So we have given 192.168.0.101, I believe. Okay, let's see, this is pinging. So yeah, so we are able to see that our hypervisor is pinging, but our CVM is still didn't came up. So I will wait for some time. I will pause the video. Once the CVM is up, then we'll proceed for next action of plan. Okay, our CVM is up now. We are able to see that it's pinging, and when I try to browse it, like I'm unable to browse the dashboard because the cluster is not ready. So what we'll do is we'll connect to the CVM using putty. Okay, so its login is Nutanix and password is Nutanix/4u. Okay, so here uh, this is the CVM, and now we need to see the status of the cluster. For that, you can run command cluster status. So it's not started, that's what we are able to see. So we'll abort it and we'll start the cluster. Okay, so it took some time when I run the cluster status. Now it's showing up. If you see the logs before, when I run the cluster status, you are able to see all the services are down. So we need to wait for 10 to 15 minutes to completely deploy CVM in the backend. When complete deployment is completed and all services are up, when you run the command cluster start, these all listed services are like started, and now they are in upstate. Once they're all started, if you browse it, you will be able to uh, access the console of Prism. So if you see here, it's asking for username, password. So you will use the default username, password, that is Nutanix for you. And once you do that, it will ask you to rename or change the password. So you need to change the password. Once you change the password, so as we already discussed in our previous video, like you have created a login in the Prism Prism like a Nutanix site for the community edition. So you have to use the same credentials after you give the new uh, admin and the new password. It will take you to the next screen for the validation, where you have to provide the your business email and password, so that it will connect to the Nutanix mm, uh, Pulse, and it will validate. And if you are eligible to use the community edition, then it will allow you to log into the Prism console. If your community edition validity is over, or something they suspect something suspicious, then it will be blocked and you may not be able to log in. So let's log in with our new password. So it's checking. So it will ask for your username, password. So I will just pause my video and put my credentials here. So once I put my credentials, you are able to see all all are successful, and I'm able to log into my Prism console now. So if you are able to see the hypervisor here, what hypervisor I used. So it's AHV, that is the Nutanix hypervisor, and this is the console. So we are successfully implemented community edition on AHV hypervisor. So in our next video, we look at this. Like, you're able to see four columns, right? What is this column, what is this column refers to, what is this column refers to, and all stuff. And also we look at each option here. What is health, VM, storage, network, hardware. We look at all these things, and once this is done, we will configure our Prism to authenticate our Active Directory users. That where we'll do. And what is the difference between community edition and regular Prism Ultima edition. All we'll discuss, and we'll go through each and every option here, and we'll discuss how to. You're able to see that unknown named, so that means we need to create a cluster name and provide a virtual IP. So these all we will do it in our next video. So you can see here community edition. If it is a live production, you will be able to see the Nutanix hardware hardware model mentioned it here. So we will also discuss about the what are the available models, and what like a model. Looking at the model in name, how can you identify what is that exactly. It's a Nutanix box, or Nutanix hardware, or it's a Dell hardware, or HP hardware, or even like what hardware is used and what processor is used, what using all stuff we'll come to know. So we'll discuss on these in our coming videos. So for now, uh, thanks for watching, and please do subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.